Today's video, we are going to be doing a full in-depth dive into one of the most powerful trading strategies you'll ever use. Now, I've been testing this strategy for years and it has some pretty crazy stats. Like, for example, we have a 70 to 80% win rate. We have a very decent risk to reward. And this is a setup that you can trade almost every single day and it will work most days of the month. So with all that being said, let's get directly into the A through Z guide of how to use candle range theory correctly. And by the end of this video, you should have a full understanding of how to use it and be able to apply it on the charts yourself. So let's head over to the charts and take a look at how this works in the real life markets. So what is this concept? And a lot of you guys are probably already familiar with it if you watched my other videos, but this is basically going to be called candle range theory. And this is kind of my side strategy that I traded using alongside the breakout structure for rally gap, just mainly for futures. Still works on everything, it's just that I personally just traded on futures because it gets a lot of setups and it gets crazy follow through on things like MNQ, MGC, MES, all those different tickers. So the way candle range theory is going to work, it is a very simple 3 candle sequence. All right, you are first off going to have the first candle. And let's really dive into this part because this is where some people get confused. You are going to use the 1 hour time frame or the 15-minute time frame. Now, sometimes you will see me also using the 30-minute. I will usually have the 30-minute as just kind of like a secondary confirmation for these time frames. So for example, if we take a look at MNQ right now, essentially we just had a CRT on the 1 hour, correct? If there was a 30-minute that was on top of it as a confirmation, that would just make it even better for me, right? But in most cases, you'll notice I'm looking at a 15-minute, 30-minute, and a 1 hour CRT, okay? In this case, this one played out. There was no other time frame, so I went for a 1 hour. Now let's head back to the candle range theory and understand what's going on here. You are going to go on the 1 hour time frame in New York session, which is going to be from 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time, or you are going to use the 15-minute time frame for Asian session or London session, which is usually around 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time, all right? And you are just simply going to mark out the high and the low of any recent candle that we had, all right? So in this case, let's say this is the 1 hour time frame. I just marked out the ultimate high and the ultimate low, and this includes the wick of that candle, all right? It's not just the body, it is the wick to wick, all right? So that is step number 1. Number 2, what we want to see is that price will come and break either the high or the low. It doesn't matter which direction, but I'll explain that in a second about how we know which direction to trade towards, all right? In this case, price breaks it, and we wick, and we close the body of the candle, the colored part of the candle, underneath the high, okay? And this is what makes a valid CRT. If price breaks it and it closed the candle above this high, that is nothing, I could care less, whatever. But what's special about this is essentially these candles have liquidity at the highs and the lows. So in this case, when price came and took out the high and reversed, we basically picked up the liquidity here, and price wants to move to the next level of liquidity, which is essentially going to be sitting at this candle's low. So if we took out the high and swept and reversed back down, all right, and the body of the candle closed underneath the high, price wants to make a U-shaped reversal back down to the lows, all right? Exact same thing to this side. If we just took out the low and price reversed and closed the body of the candle above the low, then it wants to move to the next level of liquidity, right? We picked up liquidity down here. We want to make a move, a U-shaped reversal to the candle's high right here. Okay, and the market is running, honestly, in this exact same confluence almost every single day. Now, something important that I want to mention. If this second candle comes and it takes out, for example, the same high and low in the same candle, that is not CRT. I am not interested in that, okay? So let's move on into the third step. You need to have a breakdown. It must reverse, and it must close the body of the candle right here, right? The third step to make this a fully valid CRT, because in this sense, the setup is still forming, but the entry has not been taken. All right. In this situation, what happens is I need to see price come and break below this middle candle's low. And that is where my entry will be taken on the lower time frame. All right. In this case, it will come and take out the middle candle's high. And that is where my entry will be taken on the lower time frame. Okay. From there, you will simply target a 1.5 to 2R. You can play around and see what's better for you. I personally, if it's a tight range, I will go 1.5. If it's a wide range, I will go 2R. All right. And the way we figure out what our stop loss and take profit will be, we know that price is going to make a move to this candle's high right here, okay? So then I will drag my stop loss until I get to a 2R, all right? And that's simply all I'm doing. That's simply all I'm doing. Now, the actual entry will be taken on either the 1 minute or the 2 minute. And I personally like the 1 minute most because that gives a little bit more of a breakdown. Some people wait for the 2 minute confirmation, which is a safer entry, but you will also miss a lot more setups, okay? So let's real quick just head over to the charts and I want to show you guys something, and then we're going to move over to a real-time trade that I took using this strategy. All right. So today on MGC, I took CRTs, and let's really take a look at the trade that I took and understand why I took the setup, okay? So on MGC today, I took a look at it, and I could very simply see, what is this setup here? We have a beautiful candle high and a candle low on the 15-minute, okay? Was this one A+? No, because it was a 15-minute setup on the 15-minute time frame in the New York session. And I'll explain the second setup so you guys can understand that more clearly. So in this situation, what happened? We have candle high, candle low. Price came and took out the high, but the actual body of the candle ended up closing underneath the high, okay? So step 1 is there, step 2 is there, let's head into step 3. I am then going to mark out this middle candle right here, and I will now drop down to a lower time frame on the 1 minute. And let's see where my entry was taken and why we took it and all these different things. So price comes and breaks that middle candle on this massive rejection right here, all right? From there, I know that price is going to make a move down to this candle's low, all right, because that is from liquidity to liquidity. And my stop loss, I simply just dragged it and I made it a 1.5R, all right? And that is all I'm doing. So I let that trade ride and it goes straight to our target, all right? Same exact idea on the hourly one I played. Let's go over and take a look at that. So this was an A+ setup because in the New York session, a 1 hour time frame setup is beautiful. We love it, all right? Why did I take this trade? Let's really quickly break this down one more time. We had a high and a low right over here. I marked those two out. Then price comes and breaks that candle's high, but it closes the body of the candle, the actual colored part underneath the high. So it took out liquidity at the high. And what do we expect for the next candle to do? That will be a strong U-shaped reversal down to this candle's low, okay? So just from understanding that sweep, I just got a target, I just got an entry, and I got everything figured out. Now what do I do, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to drop down to the lower time frame and wait for price to break this middle candle's low, and that is where my entry will be taken. So what did I do today? I came back down, I took a look, when did we get a break of that middle candle? Right over here, okay? Technically this one you can do a 2R because it's a much wider range, and that's exactly what we did. Straight move down to the target. Okay, that's A+. This part is clear. Now this is where I saw a lot of you guys getting confused, and I really want to talk about this because it's very important. How come I did not play this CRT right here, this bullish one? Okay, it technically swept the low. Let's really break that down and understand why I didn't play it. It swept the low right here, so why would I not play it? Okay, let's really understand this. Number one, you don't want to play CRTs that go with the trend, so you must have a daily bias. And this is very important. So essentially, if I'm looking at the market on the higher time frame, and we are starting to come down, and we're taking out the previous lows. For example, we got a break recently, we're weak, we keep making new lows, lower highs. I take a look at what the trend is. The other day, I only played a bullish MGC, okay? Because why? The market was coming off of a breakout. You need to take a look at the current trend and understand if we are bullish or very strongly bearish, then I will play with that direction only. Anytime it's counter trend is not going to be clean. So that is why I recommend you guys first off get your bias down and then worry about what you're doing. So in these cases, why did this CRT work out? Because in that moment the market was bullish, correct? And that's exactly what we're playing. Why did some of these bearish ones not work out? Because we are going against the trend. That is not what I want to do. So you really need to understand that first and just take a look. It should be very clear. You open up the chart, you see, are we getting a massive rejection, massive rip, or are we just sideways? And that's it, okay? So that is why I skipped this one right here. I didn't play it. And I went for the bearish one instead. And a lot of people got destroyed because they tried to rush this and take this trade. Make sure it goes with the trend. Very, very important, all right? And a very good, like, just little general rule of thumb is, if we start getting a break of structure of the previous lows, meaning that, you know, we pulled back, respected, pulled back, respected, but now price is starting to break it, that is a trend shift, all right? And if you open up your eyes directly into the market, it should be very clear what direction we're moving. Now, what I want to show you guys is an actual live execution from A through Z of me trading this setup. So it's not just like me, we already took this trade, but I didn't record it. I want to show you guys when I recorded it of me actually setting up the levels, the setup in real time, all these different things, and that will show you guys everything so much more clearly. So let me put that up and let's actually dissect exactly what I did on that trade and why it was such a perfect setup. So here we are on this setup that we traded the other day. And if you guys take a look, what is exactly going on here? We have a 30-minute CRT we have a 1 hour CRT. The 15 minute does not have one, but in New York session, you guys are, I don't really pay attention to it anyways, regardless, right? But let's take a look at what I'm seeing here. So price is swept, and I know when price sweeps, what do I expect to happen? It will make a move down to these lows down here, because we took out one side of liquidity. It will make a move to the opposite end of liquidity. Same exact thing over here. We took out these highs right here and swept and reversed. We will make a move to the opposite end of liquidity. So what am I going to do in this situation, ladies and gentlemen? I am going to wait for price to come and take out this middle candle on the lower time frame, which falls exactly right here. And when it does break, you guys will see me take my entry. So let's go ahead and see what happens whenever we see that setup in real time and how we execute on it. Let me mute this video right here so it's not overlapping. But essentially, I see the setup. I haven't executed anything yet, right? This is where you guys also get confused. In the moment, if CRT is forming but it has not broken the middle candle, I don't care. I'm not taking that entry, all right? Let's continue and take a look what's going on. Price is coming down, it's coming down. You can see my orders are already placed. My stop loss is also about to be placed once I enter the trade, because I know what my risk to reward will be since I know where my target is, all right? So let's continue. We're going. Price still has not done anything, and now let's see. Do we get a rejection of that middle candle? Let's really watch this and see in real time. So price comes, it comes, so far has not broken. Let's fast forward a little bit. Still, there we go. So once price broke that middle candle, that is where my CRT is validated, and I am in that trade. Now, I have my stop loss placed, and I have my target placed. Very tight risk to reward. I know very, very likely we're going to get follow through down to these lows. So let's continue and see what happens on the setup piece by piece. We're getting a slow little move. I'm not doing anything. I'm just letting my trade ride. And I will also talk about when I start moving my stop loss. All right. So with my trade, I keep placing my stop loss above the previous high that just got put in. So in this case, price came and pulled back, rejected again. My new stop loss was above this high. Now we rejected a lot. Stop loss is at break even and so forth. And let's really understand this. Trade is continuing. We're raising our stop loss above the previous highs. And we know it is going to make its move down to these lows right here. This is something I really want to talk about, because trailing your stop loss, you will get stopped out a lot more. I just understand the levels a little bit more clearly, so I'm able to play those levels very strict, okay? Not everybody can do that, and I don't think everybody should unless you're very experienced, but in my opinion, the best way is to just go break even once you get halfway to your target and just leave it there and just let it do its thing. Because CRT is a very high win rate setup, so you will see a lot of follow through to that target anyways. So I think it's better to just give yourself that extra room so you don't end up in any messy situations, all right? But with that being said, let's continue and see exactly how price ends up moving here. We continue rejecting. You'll see I just keep trailing my stop loss every single time, correct? And I see my setups here. The hourly rejection, the 30-minute rejection, they're all clean. They're all very clean. We continue. I'm just trailing my stop loss down the whole time, all right? Until eventually what happens, ladies and gentlemen? Let's get that move straight down to the target, all right? And look how beautifully that all came together. I waited, I didn't rush anything. I waited for the middle candle to break, and it was a clean break right there, and straight shot down to the target. Now, you're probably asking, was this just one day? Absolutely not. This setup, quite literally, we are getting almost every single day. So I will show you guys another one to really give you an idea of how it works. So let's review the past few CRT trades that we've taken and understand exactly what goes into it. So here's one from Asian session yesterday, and let's really understand this. Why am I watching a 15-minute CRT? Because we are in the Asian session, and always remember, 1 hour is ideal for New York, and 15 minutes is going to be ideal for Asian session, but they can be interchangeably used. It doesn't necessarily matter. I just prefer it, right? What have I done here? I have a CRT based on what my trade is. I let it do its thing. If it breaks that middle candle, you can see I have my order placed. I know where my stop loss is, I know where my take profit is, and now I'm just waiting for price to get that breakdown. So we get that rejection. Beautiful. You can see the 15-minute CRT. It swept the high, so I know it's going to make a move down towards the low. All right? Stop loss goes to break even, ladies and gentlemen, and we let it do its thing. This one, I ended up booking, I believe it was about like a $400 profit. It wasn't anything really insane. Let me just double check. Yes, I ended up booking about like a $500 win on this trade, right? I trailed my stop loss down. It stopped me out before getting the full take profit, but again, that's the risk that I take whenever I'm doing these kind of trailing stop losses. Let's take a look at another one. Here we have another MGC short, and let's really understand this. I can see once again, Price sweeps this candle's high. This is exactly the setup I was just showing you guys a second ago. Sweeps the candle high, reverses back down. I know that price wants to make a move down to this low right here. So I take my entry when price breaks the middle candle, and I'm looking for a push to 4,794.1. Let's see how this plays out. We get a beautiful rejection. Stop loss gets raised. Wonderful. Okay? And then boom, straight shot down to your target, collect your profits, and that is it. Alright? Second one, let's again get directly into that. We have a 1 hour CRT, and let's really understand this trade in the moment. Candle high, gets swept. Next candle, I understand, should come and take out the middle candle and move to the low right here where the rest of the liquidity is sitting, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm waiting for the middle candle to break, and that is where my entry will be taken. So here's my orders, and you guys can see I'm pre-firing this entry. I literally know where my stop loss is. I know where my take profit is. I'm risking $480 loss for a $1,060 win. That risk reward is also amazing. All right. So we're going. I hop in my short once price breaks that middle candle. And what happens, ladies and gentlemen? Goes, keep pushing. I keep raising my stop loss. Keeps going. We keep raising the stop loss once again. And eventually, boom, you get straight down to your target. Full TP. Okay? So this setup genuinely is showing up every single day. And when you even do lose with CRT, it's a tiny loss because your risk reward is so clean that it adds up amazing, right? But you guys can see the setup, and again, do not take my word for it. Genuinely go hop on the charts and see. Every single time that we're getting a CRT, how often is this thing actually printing? It's really insane. Whether that be on MNQ, for example, we just had one that printed on MNQ right there. There's one forming right now. We'll see if that gets followed through, but essentially, go backtest this. You will see how crazy it is. It is one thing for me to tell you guys, oh my god, it works great. Go see it for yourself. Do not just take my word for it. See in real time, try it in the real-time markets, backtest it, do all these different things, and you will also see the power of it. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I really wanted to just show you guys this because honestly, this is one of the best strategies I have used, and in conjunction with my breaker structure for rally gap, 2 setups, one for futures, one for my options, and yes, breaker structure for rally gap does get used for futures as well sometimes. That's all you need. And when everyone's complaining right now, everyone's crying on social media that the market sucks, we've been on crazy win streaks. We've been printing nonstop. That's all it is, ladies and gentlemen. Just learn your setups, backtest them, study them very well, and see what clicks for you, and that's all you guys need. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully I explained it well enough and you guys have a full understanding of exactly how it works now. That's basically all the bits and pieces that you really need for it. Very simple strategy. If you guys do have any additional questions, feel free to ask them in the free Discord below. You know, everyone's active in there. They can help you out as well as me helping you out. Or ask in the comment section below. I will try my best to get back to all the questions and answer them as well. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys back in our next video. If you guys have anything specific you want to see, let me know in the comment section below what video you'd like to see next, and I will make sure to get that out to you guys. So thank you guys for watching again. Study this very well, and I will see you guys back in the next video.